Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's me again, your favorite podcast host. I don't know if I'm your favorite or not. I like to think so. And why not? It's my show. I can think what I want. It's been a few weeks again. I know you're just as surprised as I am. Thank you for the prompting from my loyal audience members. Like, hey, get off your tuchus and do another podcast. So here I am. Few things I want to cover this time. It's almost election day, which for many liberals, conservatives, and others, political pundits, what have you, it's like Christmas come early. Everybody is so drawn into this election cycle. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I really don't know. I hope that good people win and bad people get kicked out. Now, your opinion, your ideas, your thoughts, what have you, on what's a good person and what's a bad person will vary from mine. Anyone that tries to exert too much government control or too much government intrusion into my life, your life, whomever's life, whomever, use your own word there, whatever fits. That to me is a bad person. Someone who advocates uncontrollable, unchecked spending is a bad person, no matter what side of the aisle you happen to sit on or root for. I think fiscal responsibility is an important thing. I think you should not spend money you don't have. I don't believe in creating bills and agencies and all the other crap that they throw at us just to get more money out of us. Many of us are strapped as it is. Here in California, gas prices are averaging about $5.50 a gallon. I've seen it go as high as $7 or $8 if you're in downtown LA, and I think if you buy gas in downtown LA and you don't have to, then you're kind of foolish and stupid. I hate to say that, but if you can drive a few blocks to save $2 on gas, why wouldn't you do it? I don't understand. That's an argument that will never, ever, ever make sense to me. I don't get it. I don't know why they do it. Anyway, here in California, as I'm sure is happening in your state, wherever you're listening from, we have all these propositions that are added to the election and put on the ballot. And they have prop numbers like here it's 29 and 30. Why those two? Those are the two that seem to be most prevalent on TV these days and on the radio. One side's for it, one side's against it. I think in this instance, it's, at least for one or two of them, it's about money. It's a money grab. Proposition 29 is about dialysis centers, not ones that are like connected to a hospital, but independent dialysis centers where it seems that one side wants it just to be run however the center wants it to run, and the other side seems to want it to be where you have to have trained medical staff on location in case something happens. Now, the technology and everything that goes along with dialysis is pretty up to date, I think. I personally have never gone through it, but I know people who have. And I haven't really heard a lot of bad things about it. But aside from it costing them money, I don't see why a center would be against having trained doctors and nurses on hand in case something happens. Because as with any medical procedure, something can always go wrong. Something can go awry or askew, if you will. And I don't understand why that's a bad thing. Now, the tricky part of this, I guess, or the questionable part would be the people behind the proposition that don't want it are like the largest dialysis center in at least Southern California. There's a few named as sponsoring the proposition, and they just seem to be like the biggest centers with the most money to lose because they would have to pay for additional staff to be on hand. Now, if there's another reason behind it, then sure, vote against it. You're going to vote your conscience. And I hope you have somewhat of an informed opinion before you just go down the list. Check, 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 check. Or fill in the circles, whatever it is here. I'm not sure. I haven't voted in person here yet. I only recently registered to vote, so it's all still a new process to me. But I've got my handy dandy general election book. I'm sure your polling centers or wherever have sent this out to you, so read it over. Get informed. Do a Google search. Spend 30 or 40 seconds and look stuff up. Don't believe what you see on TV. The other big one here is suddenly all the Democrats and all these people are all about cutting tailpipe emissions and being better management or in better management of the forests and trees here. Something that one side has been pushing for forever, but we were told we were stupid and it's illogical and it makes no sense and it wouldn't make a difference anyway and whatever. It's funny how when it's one side, it's the best thing ever, but if the other side suggests it, it's the dumbest thing ever and no one should ever even think about suggesting that. Now, there is a certain car share service that is the main, possibly the only sponsor of the bill. I'm not sure. I'd have to look. But it seems to be that they're at the forefront of pushing this bill because it helps them. Now, I'm not saying that as a business owner you shouldn't be able to profit. But I think there's got to be a balance of profit versus greed, or how much what you're doing is really helping other people. And it's not the one that rhymes with Subaru. It's the other rideshare service that also shares the name with an it's another name for an elevator. I'm sure you can draw your own conclusions who that might be. Am I for it or against it? I'm not really sure. I think if it helps the environment and it's not too overreaching or too broad, then sure, absolutely. But if it's only a money grab for this company, then I don't know how much it's really going to help the rest of us. As it stands, California wants to be all electric by like 2035. And unless some miracle happens in the next 12 years or so, I don't see that happening. The technology for batteries and battery recovery and battery recycling and everything else is just not there. We haven't met anywhere close to the standards of where we should be at all in any way, shape, or form. They're absolutely dangerous. If they get wet or something happens to them and they get damaged, they can explode, and they're extremely hard to extinguish once they catch on fire. We don't have any way to recycle them. We don't have really any effective ways to recycle car batteries. So just think of how much worse it would be with all the lithium ion and other components in those batteries, how bad that's going to be when they all start wearing out and they have to replace, not to mention the cost. Now, I haven't really dug deep into it because I don't own a car, but a cursory Google search revealed that a new battery can cost thousands of dollars, sometimes in excess of maybe what you paid for the car. So if you buy one used and you only pay like $8,000 to $10,000 and the new battery is going to cost you $12,000 or $14,000, what's my incentive for doing that? We can continue to improve the internal combustion engine. We can work on the hybrids and other things until we get to the point where we can say, hey, all right, we've got it now. We're good. Then we can move forward. But until then, I don't understand the big push unless and aside from the fact that everyone else is, or not everyone else, but other people are making money from it. It seems to be, if you follow the money, you'll find the real reason why someone is pushing for or pushing against something. I am not in any way, shape, or form a big government guy. I never have been. And I've been that way pretty much most of my life. Serving in the military has certainly helped shape and form my opinions on how the government runs and how inefficient it is. There can be 12 agencies that all do basically the same thing, and not one of them is willing to give up the power. That's kind of the funny thing. People keep asking, why do state governors continue with the Emergency Act from COVID from 2 years ago? We're coming up on almost 3 years now, and they haven't relinquished not one iota of their power. And generally, they never do unless they're forced to. It's the same thing when we create new taxes for things. Now, taxes are sometimes useful, and they certainly can help go towards the betterment of all. But if you really dig deep and look into where, like, the gasoline tax goes, as I understand it, it was originally created in order to help with roads and bridges and infrastructure, and I don't see that happening, at least not locally, because our roads here are pretty crappy. And I've driven in places where the roads are so bad that they will swallow your car. Hit a pothole the right way and you ruin a tire, you ruin a tie rod, you break your car. So, as far as that goes, I don't really think that the money is going where it's supposed to go. Like, the Social Security fund has become a slush fund, and they use it for all their pet projects and all the things they want done. And do I blame them? No. You know, if you're given the opportunity to do it and no one is stopping you, then are you really the bad guy? I don't know. I think the way they use the money is ridiculous. It doesn't help seniors. It doesn't help the people that need it. It helps other people and helps other people's friends to get done whatever it is they want done. So the upshot of all this is research, go vote, know what you're voting for, and hopefully vote for change, because, like it or not, that's the only way that things are going to change. Me complaining on a podcast, or others talking about it on a podcast so we're blue in the face, may raise awareness, but it doesn't affect change. The only change that's going to happen is what you guys and girls decide to go out and do next week. Now, it's only a few days away. There's still plenty of time to research whatever issues you're unsure of. I'm sure you have a general election book that talks about things that are on the ballot. Hopefully you do. If not, then I would fire your election board and get people in there that know what they're doing. And I know people that work on election boards, and they do great stuff, and it doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on, whether they have a D or an R or an I next to their name. I don't care what your affiliation is. If you're for the betterment of people and you're not for bigger government or more control taken or any of those things, then we can be friends and we can work together. If you're opposed to helping people and only helping yourself or your side or your friends, then we really have nothing in common. And I will continue to pray that you gain wisdom and guidance and figure out what you're doing before you do it, and hopefully change your heart a little bit. So go vote. I would say vote early and often, but that's only the other side. We don't get to do that. Small joke. But definitely vote. I wanted to tell you, I did pass my life insurance exam. I passed it last week on Thursday. I had no clue what I was doing. I studied, I read, I studied till I was blue in the face. I studied till I couldn't cram any more information in the old noggin. And somehow I passed. I was very happy. I shouldn't be surprised because I prayed and God answered my prayer. So thank you first and foremost to Him for giving me the ability to retain the knowledge and learn the knowledge, and even the ability to be in a position where I could take the test. So thank you, Father. I appreciate that very much. Thank you to the people who helped me study, that kept me on track. My friends, my upline Kelly, thank you very much for believing in me and helping me. Thank you to my brother Jack for telling me I could do it and believing in me. Thanks to my mom and other friends and acquaintances that were on my side helping me along and not feeling like they were obligated or like I was asking them to do something that I shouldn't be asking or had a right to ask. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. This will be up on YouTube later on my YouTube channel. Check me out. Same name as here. I think there's a 1 at the end of it. At Home with Craig 1 on YouTube. Other videos are up there as well. So thank you all. Have a great weekend. Hope you had a great week. Hope you have a better week next week. God bless, and I love you all.